All right. Now
You
we
know
are
he's
live. Now we're
yes.
live. But I think this will be relatively laid back. I kind of like the laid back stream.
I do too. I do
It's
too.
fun.
Yeah, because if it's just just straight chill streams, they're just I don't know. They're boring to do, and they're definitely
It's
boring to
boring to
watch.
watch. Yeah, it's like QVC. That's
Exactly.
yeah, I kept thinking like there's got to be a better way to do
Yeah.
this. Like I get it. I like promoting people, but at the same time it's like I gotta figure something else out. But love talking to you, Brian.
Likewise.
And
Likewise.
I feel bad because I have been MIA for so long that now that it's the last 24
Oh,
hours of Six Gun Gorilla. So I backed it on the first day, but
oh, thanks, brother.
yeah. Anyway, so I'm glad to have you.
Thank
It'll
you.
be good. But I
Thanks.
kind of want to get right back. We were just talking before we went
Yeah.
live about He-Man, and
He-Man.
I have no skin in the game. Was never into He-Man. You weren't really into He-Man,
Yeah,
but
because I was the wrong age.
yeah. So was I. I was a little too young, I
I was a
think,
little
for
too,
He-Man.
and
Yeah.
I was a little too old. As we were discussing before, there's like that time when you're a kid. Like for me, it was all about like the Star Wars figures.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Star Wars and walking to Toys R Us and seeing this wall of figures. And I had, like the Millennium Falcon and the Death Star and all that crap, right? But then you get to the age where you're not playing with toys anymore. And that's when He-Man came out for me. And then of course then you get a little bit older, you get into your 20s, and once again you're into toys again.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, we were talking about the fact that neither of us are He-Man fans, and yet we know that there are people out there who those characters hold a very special place in their heart.
Yeah.
And so you hope that the people that are making this is it a series, or is it an animated feature? I think it's got to be a series,
I
right?
think it's a series. That was my understanding. Yeah.
Okay. Well, because I think at the end of the trailer it said part one or something. I don't know, but regardless, you're hoping as a fan that the people that this IP has been handed to are going to treat it with a love and dignity and respect and do right by it, and that community has been shafted really hard lately, especially with the She-Ra series.
Yeah.
And the women that I know that were like girls that loved She-Ra hated it.
Yeah.
It's like, or like Thundercats Roar,
Right.
right?
Right. It's one of the ugliest looking cartoons I've seen. Yeah. That's exactly it.
What is it with this pose?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
and then when they smile, they all have like those big bean teeth,
Yeah.
the tumbler
It,
teeth.
yeah. The part of it is just the same. Like it's so stylized that it seems like, okay, there's or there's a TV series in that style. Okay. Like that's fine. But then there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it becomes like the new house style of all animation. That's where
Yeah,
it's like, come on, like gotta do so.
something
This is a
different,
bit
man.
much.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
no way that this is that popular.
it's that shit. It's that popular on Tumblr.
Yeah,
But Tumblr is
that's
not the
yeah,
real world. It's
right,
the
right,
same way that Twitter is not the real world. And they've completely revamped they've destroyed all of our classic heroes. They've destroyed all of the great comic books, Marvel and DC. All of their product combined is getting outsold 10-1 to manga. From one
yeah,
manga, like, right? Demon Slayer sold more than everything from DC and Marvel combined. That's because the
wow,
people who are making the comics don't care. And if you don't like the crap that they're putting out, you're a racist, sexist, homophobic
yeah.
ist.
Well, yeah, it gets to the point where it's just they're catering to such a small audience, and what I mean by that is I think it's their friends.
Yes.
It in their peer group, a subsection of their peer group that are their friends that it ends up being like inside jokes, but inside just like I'm gonna put this in there for my buddy, to think that I'm cool or something, or I don't know. It just gets
It's a
so
virtue signal.
yeah, virtue signal, absolutely.
It's like, oh, you're so stunning and so brave for like making She-Ra gay, right?
Yeah,
Now, right, and meanwhile, we've had gay characters in comics for a long time. Now, I understand like gay people haven't had it very good in the U.S. for a very long time up until recently. And you'd hope that things would get to the point where it's not even an issue anymore. They're the ones that are making an issue out of it.
yeah. Well, so and it's interesting because I don't know how to say this without it. This is the phrase you're never supposed to say, right? I've got a few gay friends, not many, but not many, but probably like 3 or 4 that
right.
Various levels of friendship, and every single one of them makes fun of this stuff. Like,
yes,
none of them are impressed. Like, it's just clearly pandering. Again, I don't want to, like, that's a very small sample size, but it's like the people that they're trying to impress aren't even the oppressed group that they're virtue signaling about. It's just a tool, for them to look good. It's
exactly.
so strange.
It's very surreal. It's very surreal.
The topic I really want to get into with you is the concept of, you have a franchise, you're at the reins of a franchise, it's your turn. How do you not screw it up, basically? Or what, this to me is a big concept. It's a big, we're always talking about it. It seems like I could do every single video on franchises that have been fumbled, over politics or what, any number of things. So I want to get into that with you. Let's say hi to the chat first, though.
What up, chat?
We're having, this is a just nice discussion stream. We're gonna be hanging out, chilling, this is gonna be, I'm gonna try to channel Joe Rogan here. What I love is he has the conversational streams, and they're still really interesting. So
they're great because they'll sometimes go off the rails, but then they go off the rails into like interesting areas.
It's interesting for the most part.
He's a very good interviewer. Although, of course, I mean, he's sold out, but he sold out for like $100 million.
Yeah,
and if I had kids, I might do it too. So I try not to judge.
Right. I'll never have that opportunity, but
me neither.
Dojo Comics, hello, welcome. We streamed last night. Where is last night? Right? Yeah, last night went really well. Great stream. Robert Roberts is here. He says, "Hell Xenu, fellower." I don't even know how to pronounce that. Bam Pow. I'm having contagion after contagion about gorillas and guns.
No, it's not contagion. It's cognition.
Oh, cognition.
After cognition about gorillas.
Contagion. That's a different problem altogether.
Yeah,
let's get our wallets and get some gorilla stats up. I hear you.
Thanks, dude. Thanks. Greatly appreciated.
Love it. And I'm glad that you're here. Glad we worked this out in stream, because I'm a big fan of Six-Gun-Guerrilla.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, dude.
You bet.
I'm a fan of your stuff too. And like I said, what's really great is I'm watching the artists getting better with each book, but I'm also seeing the writers getting better with each book.
Yeah,
and you're one of those cats.
I think Downcast 3 is going to be. I'm just so confident about it as far as the writing goes that it feels good. Usually I'm so timid, but this time it's like, no, I think this is right. So Mr. Reborn is here. Hello.
What up?
Zaid Comics says, hell the chat. Absolutely.
Hail Phil.
Mr. Reborn. Brothers. Yeah, Phil. Let's see. Everyone's saying hi. Robert Roberts. We're cycling through. Here we go. Bianca and the zombie says, hey, sweetie. Hey, Bianca. Love it. Let's see. What about is here? Ahoy, one and all.
Ahoy.
Now we're moving here. Slick Rick is here.
What up, Slick? Did he get out of prison yet? No, wait, he's dead, isn't he?
What? Oh, yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have
Well,
no
dude,
idea.
well, Slick, wherever you're broadcasting from, what up?
Welcome. Yeah, as long as you have an internet connection, be it
Yeah.
prison or heaven,
Yeah.
welcome.
Yep.
Hicks Villain says sup. We have
So,
Guy from Red Bank is here. Hello.
what up?
Let's see. Anyone new? I think I got everyone so far that has commented. While you're here, don't forget to like, give us a thumbs up. Sharing it out is helpful, and commenting. You can just put nonsense in the chat, but this will, I'm hoping, will stimulate the algorithm.
And smash that like button. Smash it.
Yes, smash it. All right, so we got to talk about some franchises building here, or at least franchise. I don't know, stewardship. That might be the correct word.
I think so.
Let's. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. So before we get into a bit more of that, everyone hopefully knows I'm running a fan art contest. The deadline is tomorrow, but I got in another round of submissions. So I'm really excited about fan art contests. I might do this every single time because it's just a great way to get people involved.
It is.
And emphasis on it. I don't care about your drawing level ability. It's just like that you're putting stuff out there and that you're a part of it. You know, that makes it fun. I can't remember. I might have showed this one on a video, but I'm showing it again just in case. It says, I don't think you understand the gravity of the situation. I don't want to dox anybody, so I'm not going to say any names, but Jack's, the first person to submit a Jack's drawing. Great job on that, by the way.
Beautiful.
This one was great. Again, any level of drawing. I love, though, to see my characters drawn. And I'll also say the contest isn't about the best drawings get printed. I'm gonna print as many as I can fit in. That's the way that it's gonna work.
Hell yeah.
Because sometimes you get comic books and you look through and you have some drawings from the fans and stuff.
Yeah.
And it gives it that touch. I love it.
I've got I actually have some of my fan art framed. If I could just show you really quick.
Yeah.
This is from my friend Charles's 6-year-old son, Max.
Oh, nice. I love it.
Right, so I got that framed. And then this is something I got from a fellow that I've contacted. I would love to see him actually maybe do either some pinups or maybe, I don't want to do too many variant covers, but look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
It's really cool. It's so cartoony. It's like a flexible, or you know what I mean? It's
dynamic.
It's alive. Yeah, dynamic. That's a much better word than I was going for. Love that.
Yeah, no, so do I. And he's one of those guys that I've talked to, and then he kind of disappears, and he's lacking confidence. And I think that's the thing that you're experiencing right now, that I'm starting to experience. It's like you're on your third campaign or so, and you start to get confident, but you also don't want to get overconfident.
Right. Well,
and that's a fear.
Yeah, that is that. I don't know. There's so much to that it's such a fine line to walk, and you got to get it right, though. I really think there's a correct way to do it, but last one here. We have all three characters here on the front. I love it. Downcast Resubmerged. Don't look down. He's coming.
I'm really looking forward to this one.
Me too, man. I love that it's just finished. But yeah, so I want to get into that a little bit when it comes down to, I gotta refresh this. I know this isn't correct. Really close to 24,000. It's ridiculous.
Awesome, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you. So when we're talking about a franchise, so let's say that you got handed He-Man, right? Even if you weren't into He-Man, you now have a responsibility to be into He-Man. not just that, but you have to respect people that grew up loving He-Man. You know?
Yeah. Like there was somebody in the chat just before. Let me scroll back a little bit. Mr. Reborn. He says that He-Man was his childhood.
Yeah.
Now, when you hear something like that, you should feel a strong sense of responsibility. Real quick story about Dennis O'Neil, who was the Batman guy for like 30 years.
Yep.
He was the guy who, along with Neil Adams, made Batman cool again in the 70s, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Once that run finished, DC hired him to be the editor on all of the Bat books to maintain the continuity and everything, and he was the authority on the character. And so when they had the Death in the Family, you know, where you could vote thumbs up, thumbs down on whether Robin got killed. Of course, this was it Jason Todd, I think.
Yeah.
And he said it was the strangest thing he'd ever seen. It was like it didn't matter who wrote this character, he always came out as a dick.
Yeah.
And he said, like, it was the weirdest thing. It's like he just took out, like, he had a life of his own. So we're like, okay, well, let's get rid of him. We'll have this gimmick and everything. And of course, you know, we'll pretend that we're going to have like 2 endings when really, of course, we're only going to do one because we know what's up.
Right.
And he said that he went to lunch one day, or he went to like this deli to pick up a sandwich for himself and like some of his friends. And one of the guys working behind the counter knew him and says really loud, "Hey, everybody, this is the guy who killed Robin." Right?
Yeah.
And he says it was at that moment he realized that, like, we're not just comic book writers, we're the custodians of folklore.
Yeah.
Like, that's when it hit him, like, oh, like when you're handed a character, especially like the really iconic characters like Superman and Batman and Spider-Man and Wonder Woman, you're being passed this flame that you're only going to hold for like a short period of time, relatively speaking, in terms of the life of the character, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so your responsibility is right, keep that flame going, and hopefully do something interesting with it and cool. And then, but most of all, to preserve it and then hand it off to the person that comes after you.
Right.
And these are people that they give zero Fs. They just don't care.
Yep. Yeah. It's one thing if you are trying and you fail. Like, we've seen that how many times, you know, you're trying to do something interesting. You're trying to preserve that flame and you fail. It's another thing to be like, I have this responsibility, but you know what? Maybe nobody should care about it. Maybe we should rethink this whole thing and just, you know, and
pick
that
it apart, find all the toxic parts, you
right.
know, and then
replace it.
Exactly.
We're gonna replace this with an imitation soy version. That's like going to get barbecue and they give you vegetarian meat. That would bother me when you didn't order it. Yeah.
Mind you, vegetarian meats are very good these days. I'm not like a vegetarian
I wouldn't even know.
Yeah. I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan. I'm a pescatarian. So like Big Daddy Kane, strictly fish on my dish.
Yeah.
But the veggie burgers are amazing. Like I remember my mother, God rest her soul, there was a Chinese vegetarian place around here that was the bomb. And of course she was like, vegetarian food, ugh. So I gave her like some chicken drumsticks. And afterwards I told her like that was vegetarian. And she was like, you wouldn't want to do the opposite. You wouldn't want to give a vegetarian meat, but if you give like a meat eater something vegetarian, no harm, no foul.
Unless it tastes bad. That's the only.
Yeah, exactly. But I knew it's just like they have the texture down, they have the taste down. The only thing that's quite missing is the scent. So that technology is improving. But here's the thing. To your point, if you went to a barbecue and somebody hands you vegetarian ribs, which by the way are rather good, you're going to be like, wait a second, this isn't what I ordered.
Right.
This is not what I came here for.
If you came, right, exactly. If you came for it, we could even change the analogy. If you go for beef and you get chicken, you know, or whatever, that it's just not what you came for.
No.
And there's a place for every kind of storytelling, any kind of character. I really think that, especially in comics, there's a
Yes.
place for it. But
Yeah.
people see it as a mantle, like it's their turn at the top of the mountain. And so rather than, hey, let's leave it at least as good as when we arrived, they want to change it completely, or they want to debase it.
Yeah, they want to basically take a big crap all over it,
Yeah.
And the other thing you notice that they do is they don't merely uplift the female characters, they push the male characters down.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Like Tom King, thank you for Batcuck and the Bat Bucket and
Yeah.
Bat Simp.
Bat Baby too. Yeah. Some of it was just
cringe.
Yeah, very cringe. Yeah. And again, like maybe there's a genre for that out there somewhere, but
yeah, it's called fan fiction.
Yeah. It's just, but it's not Batman. It's
no.
Really not. So sort of pushing that over a little bit to indie comics. Now that, well, you've got a lot of Six-Gun Gorilla. First off, you've had 6 issues, right? That you published, that you collected them into a trade paperback, right?
Yes.
And then you've done, this is now 2 more issues after that. So are you up 8 issues? Is that correct?
8 issues and 2 more issues to go after this.
Awesome.
And then that's going to be the end of the first arc. That's going to be the end of Long Days of Vengeance. And Six-Gun Gorilla will return, like at the end of the James Bond movies.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of I have so many other projects I want to do. I want to do a sword and sorcery comic. I want to do a werewolf comic when not everybody's doing werewolves. I want to do a science fiction comic. There's just so much stuff. There's a horror comic I'm working on right now that's very hush hush with Adam Lawson. But at this, I could see myself writing this character for like another 20 years.
Yeah. But it's nice to, I don't know. I love how you put that out though. Like you do the story arc, you finish it off. There's some satisfying resolution, but of course, like what, you're not going to kill him off at the end. Well, maybe you will, who knows?
No, but there's other things for him to lose too.
Right.
There's other stakes, the hero could survive and just be completely destroyed and hollow at the end.
Right. Yeah.
You never know. And this new issue, this is basically like in issue 7, it was the dream stage of the adventure, which is to say, he and his friend Giuliano Schmidt are just mowing bad guys down. This is the Empire Strikes Back part. This is where everything just completely goes to crap. And I've always found that to be a really interesting part of stories. Yeah. And it's often my favorite part of stories, because that's when you find out what, in real life, when you find out what you're really made of. Yeah. And so that's when you find out what the characters are really made of, and they find out what they're really made of.
Did you ever so I remember, especially when I was growing up, I don't think I'm alone with this, but you get into like probably like 12, maybe a little bit younger, and then sort of through like teenage years too. It's like you're sitting in class, you kind of fantasize like, what if something terrible happened, or that girl I have a crush on in the front row, like what would happen if there was like a school shooting or something? Do you do that? You run through these scenarios and like what you would do. And I think that's why comics are like the medium for boys. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because you get to kind of explore those situations and just, I don't know, see what would happen. I think that's what I like about it, or one of the things I really like about it.
But at the same time, I think the biggest mistake that the American comic book industry ever made was that it completely threw away all of its female readership and basically said, we don't want you. And look at how many young ladies do you know that absolutely gobble up manga? They love it. And that's because in manga, there's something for everybody.
Right. When they used to, they had romance, horror.
Yeah.
They had everything. It's just, I don't know, superheroes just worked.
Well, there's something about superheroes in comics that's special. That is like, although, I don't see myself doing superhero comics, I have no interest in that. There's something special about that combination.
Yeah.
of people in spandex beating the crap out of each other and the comic book medium. It's just something just special clicks there that's
Yeah.
inexplicable.
Something worked with it.
Yeah.
But
Still
absolutely,
does.
and I'm the same. I'm not doing superhero stories myself, but I don't know. Just there's something cool about the medium, and I don't know. So the fun part about being a writer is you get to make their lives miserable, and
Yeah.
that's the what's interesting about it, right?
Yeah, you start to feel guilty at a certain point, though. Well, when you find out what the cemetery without crosses is in this story, it's gonna mess you up.
What a great title too, man. That I'm imagining. I've got the wheels turning here. So let me post this link in the chat too while we're talking about Six
Rock and roll.
Gun Gorilla.
Thanks, brother.
And yeah, this is the end. 33 hours left. That's where we're at right now. So if you haven't backed it, I highly recommend backing it. It's I'll tell you, westerns are not my thing. The very first time I had you on the stream to talk about it, I told you straight up, I don't like westerns. But the way that you were talking about it and the element of, I mean, he's a gorilla, so
it's a revenge western with a gorilla. I mean, it's not so much I mean, it is a western to the core, and it has the western structure, which I've studied very, very, very carefully. And it is absolutely a western. It's set in the Old West. I had one fellow write me, and he's like, "Man, I keep hearing how everybody's just talking about what a great writer you are, but I don't like westerns. Do you have anything else?" And I'm like, "Okay, it's a western, but it's a revenge western with a freaking gorilla."
No, yeah, they're good example too. So Cormac McCarthy's one of my favorite authors.
Yeah, Blood Meridian's a favorite of mine.
It's good, and it stuck with me after because it's horrifying too, and then it just sticks with you. But most of the stuff he writes are like westerns. They have the same theme, and I don't like westerns, but I love Cormac. His writing is just beautiful all the way through.
Yes.
And so I'll do it. In this case, I'm so glad I read Six-Gun Gorilla.
Thank you.
And I love that this is your 8th issue. There's enough of it that you can really get into it. I ripped through it in one day, the first trade, and my wife started reading it. She doesn't read comics very much, and she's just like, I don't know. And I was like, well, let me see it though first, because I don't want to wait for you to finish it. So then I passed her up and I read the whole thing.
Wow.
And it was just fun. I mean, I just loved everything about it. I highly recommend it. It's definitely, there's some violence in there. There's some strong language. And so that's definitely, take that into consideration. I think most people around here get it, but
it's a PG-13.
Yeah,
that's how I would describe it.
Yeah, PG-13. I would agree with that. Robert Roberts says No Country for Old Men is a brilliant 20th century western. I think that's my favorite Cormac McCarthy book. Is No Country for Old Men.
Child of God. That's like his horror novel, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I have
I like that one a lot. That creeped the hell out of me. He's one of those guys that's not a horror writer, who you can tell this guy really loves horror.
Yeah, and the subtlety of, like, he'll describe events in it's poetic, but it's also just very matter of fact and simple. And then you're just like, wait, what is happening? Like in Blood Meridian, the first big, exactly the scene I'm talking about.
It's about scalp hunters. It's about scalp hunters in the Old West, like the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, you go through that first big scene and it's just like, holy cow, like humanity.
Yeah, and this stuff really happened. And as a matter of fact, that book was a big influence on how I wrote some of my villains, specifically Gravesend and his crew. I wanted them to be just like, the nastiest bunch of cutthroats you could possibly imagine. Like a bunch of scalp hunters who have just been hired to do this job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one thing that with Six-Gun Gorilla, when at face value, when I hear the concept that it's a gorilla, I think he's like a walking, talking gorilla that you know what I mean? It's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but with a gorilla kind of thing, but it's not like that at all. It's believable. You can suspend your disbelief, right? That's the phrase.
Yes.
The fact that he speaks sign language, I'll say that. And for me, from a writer's perspective, when it comes to the art, the most important thing I look for is storytelling. Like, can the artist tell the story? And there are a few really good examples, especially in the trade paperback. But I think also in the most recent issue I have, where there's sign language, nonverbal communication happening between the characters, and there's no dialogue, no word balloons.
Yep.
I don't know sign language, and you're understanding the communication that's happening. There were a few moments like that were just golden. Like, it just worked so well. I followed it. I'm not trying to like blow smoke or anything.
No,
like
no,
that,
no. Because look, this isn't just me.
Love it, man.
It's Adrian too. That was a genius of Adrian too.
Yeah,
was the fact that he could convey that.
Absolutely.
Because when I wrote some of this stuff, when I wrote the first issue, for instance, I wanted to make a comic where you could not read English and you could still follow the story.
Yeah.
Show don't tell. Because we have so many, this was a reaction also. I mean, I told the story that I wanted to tell, but then it's also 180 degrees from the Brian Michael Bendis, the Talking Heads, where it's page after page after page of people just right. I don't. That's it. You want comics is a dynamic visual medium. You want to be, show don't tell.
Yeah. The plot moves along nicely. This is like, I'd say people often bring up, well, is it writers or artists? Like, what is the biggest role in comics? And I hate that question so much, because it's like, that's comics is both. You know what I mean? It's having a story and telling it with pictures.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
No, I was just gonna say, I think like, if you're if you're unsure, you think about that kind of thing, pick up Six-Gun-GUERILLA, read through it, and you're gonna enjoy it as a story, like as a whole. It's one of those things that you kind of, for me anyway, kind of forget about the pictures and the words, and you're just along for the ride. You're just enjoying the story, and whatever medium it is, when it does that, that is exactly where you want to be. That's the sweet spot.
Yeah, without a doubt. Personally, I always feel that the artists are going to be 55%. That it's going to be they're going to be at least 5% more important than us. Do you know what I'm saying? Like 45% to 55%. I always think that they're going to be the rock stars, and I think they always should be the rock stars. But when you go into the my man Preston said so eloquently, that when you're making a comic, you have two storytellers, and you're the writer. You write the script, you hand it off to them. You want to make sure that their storytelling is strong, their visual storytelling is strong, and then you trust them to do their thing.
Yeah.
And then if they're good, but you also want to make sure that they have the freedom to change things. That is to say, not rewrite your script for you, but say, instead of the emphasis on this panel, let's put the emphasis on that panel, because that's where the drama is.
Mm-hmm.
And never, ever, ever, God, I'm like a broken record. I always say this on every live stream. Don't ever fall into the trap of saying, hey, well, no, we have to do my idea because my idea is better.
I've got the vision. Yeah.
Yeah, no. You're hiring this person because you trust them, and you trust in their talent and their ability. And also, it's not about, you have to throw your ego out the window and just have some sense of humility and just care about the finished product, because that, at the end of the day, that's all you're left with.
Yeah. And it's nice. I mean, when you get a collaborator, when you have an artist working with you, that's part of the reason you hire them, is for their skill set, and you want them to contribute.
Yes,
it can definitely make it a lot better. I think of a lot of examples, like with Nacho in particular, since we're a Downcast season right now, and it's he's getting so good too. Like I don't know, I'm like, I gotta hang on to him. I mean, a ton too. Yeah.
Dude, I always joke. Well, he thinks I'm joking when I say this, but I always tell Preston, I'm trying to get as much work done with you like before like Hollywood comes in and goes yoink
Yeah,
and just grabs you.
yeah, yeah. You gotta
You're gonna be
yeah,
too happening for me soon.
right. Yeah, gotta keep them. Get what you can first.
Yeah,
Um,
seriously.
so yeah, absolutely great stuff. Check out Six Gun Gorilla right now on Indiegogo. I think I posted the link. The link's in the description also of this video if you're watching it after the fact, but there's not a lot of time left. So I think it's a good time to get in there, pick it up. This is sort of transitioning a bit into making a series, which I keep having people ask me questions an awful lot about this, about
Mm-hmm.
how do you crowdfund a series, and I don't 100% know the correct way. I know the way that I'm approaching it right now, but there are a lot of other people, trying it, and I don't know. It's tricky, so I want to pick your
It is.
brain there for sure. Look at this. Aaron Olson became a member of my YouTube channel. Thank you so much,
Rock
Aaron.
and roll, dude.
You're officially the first member to of my YouTube
Really?
channel. Yeah, I haven't really promoted it, so that it's my own fault. But it just always feels like secondary because I'm always like, okay, I got to do this for the books,
Yeah.
So if I put more effort into my YouTube channel, I think it would benefit from that. But I haven't been I haven't
It
been
it
making it a
it
priority lately.
It would, but here's the thing. It's like this, like my campaign should be doing a lot better than it is at this point, right? And that's because I haven't gotten my hustle back. And also because I've been really, really busy writing stuff for my friends, writing things that, for hire projects. And yeah, people are paying me to write now. It's just weird and surreal. But I got a little bit of imposter syndrome, like any second now they're going to be like, wait a second, you don't know what you're doing. Right. But
Yeah, I don't know. That's always the thing. I wanted to hire you for Downcast. I still want to,
oh,
but
dude,
I want to have like a side story for you. But I got
love to.
vetoed. Not for your writing. I didn't even mention that. But
Okay.
I started drawing this story, and I said I'm not going to print it. I'm going to do a different story. And then everyone said no. Or I heard from a lot of people, we want to see your story. That's part of the fun. So I
Right.
said, okay, so I'm
Right.
going to do the story, but I would love that, especially in expanding things. I think that'd be great. So if
Oh,
you
I'd love
see it
to.
with Aaron Olson, he's got I can't see it in StreamYards, but you can see it in the chat. I added these little candies that'll be by your name, and the longer that you're a member, they change to different types of candies. Kyung Lee did all the design work on those for me. He did a really good job. But again, I need to show them off a little bit more. So appreciate that, Aaron Olson. And something you get, I've just noticed a lot of people when it comes to me, I had tried to think of who's watching my videos and why are they watching my videos? Like, what am I offering them? I think a lot of people are here for crowdfunding. There are also people here for the comics, obviously. But I think the most of the requests I get are about crowdfunding. And so what I want to do is I can even do private streams, or I can have, like, I don't know, Aaron, if you're planning on crowdfunding something, but we could do like a live on air critique of it, something like that. But I can provide consulting. This is just a way, because I'm already doing so much consulting for people on crowdfunding projects for free. I figured, why don't I try to monetize it a little bit? So anyway, but I appreciate you, Aaron, for joining. I really thank you for that. And let's see. And I'm also going to eyeball you a little bit more when you chat. Spreading the love a little. Just grabbed a full set of Six-Gun Gorilla books. All right,
Oh,
Aaron.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Very
Yeah, and and
cool.
and, and here's the thing too, is that somebody like Aaron, anybody else, I mean, to me, the beauty of this scene that we're part of, that we're so blessed to be a part of, is that there's so many people that are looking at what we're doing and we're inspiring them to throw their own hats in the ring and give it a
Yeah.
shot. And this is a community that is the exact opposite of the mainstream community, where everybody's shanking each other in the back.
Yeah.
We're not gatekeepers, we're gate openers.
Yeah.
It's if your book looks dope, we're going to promote it. And even if, maybe, you're not where you need to be just yet, but you're trying to get there, there are, we'll promote that too. And we'll also, I know a lot of people like Preston, people like my man Simon Sim Poitier, they will, behind the scenes go out and contact people and give them some tips and pointers. I'm always happy to be of help to people, and they can learn a lot from what we've done right, but they can especially learn from our blunders.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. It's funny because when I was trying to get into comics before, I remember I joined this Facebook group, and the way that it worked is you'd submit an 8-page story and they would publish eight-page stories. And what it basically was like an 8-page pilot for a series that you were pitching.
Sure.
And then they would send that out to their list of publishers, And I remember the guy that was running it, like I'd submit art and things, and this was actually Downcast back then, but it was me trying to draw it. It had a different name, and
wow.
My art wasn't great, but I just remember he was very he'd give me some feedback, but then he was like, you're not going to be able to do this unless you get an artist to draw this stuff, and you're not going to get an artist unless I hook you up with some of my connections. So if you want my connections, what you have to do is get us placements, media placements, like PR placements in whatever 10 different publications, and then I will refer you to some artists that I know. Yeah,
that's
and
disgusting.
At first I thought about it, and then I was like, no, it's so strange to be. Yeah, it's so strange when it's like just my connections, the network. You have to do me a favor for me to. Yeah. Whereas now, like with Comicsgate, it's like, hey, we're all connect. You know what I mean?
We're here.
No one's gonna push you out.
No, the door's right open. All you have to do is walk in.
Right, and we'll refer you. The other thing is, it's like I love giving people work anyway. Like, you want lettering, or what? Do I know a colorist that's available? Whatever. Like, constantly sharing that kind of information. But
hell yeah,
it's great because it gives them work. And then they'll be working more. So
yeah, absolutely. And it's don't be a selfish prick. It's one of the basic rules in life.
Yeah, very basic.
Very basic.
So yeah, Six-Gun-Gorilla, which I'm going to refresh it right now. There you go. Up to 600. Well, let me try that again. $6,515, 125 backers, and 32 hours left. Check it out. I'm going to post this link again, but we're going to keep an eye on that throughout the stream here, and definitely want to check in on that. So let's see. Let's also take a look at Downcast while we're here as well.
Hell yeah!
This is like ridiculous that it's. Depending on what you back, it could be one backer away, maybe 2 or 3, but that could get us past the $24,000 mark, which is great. I've been talking to the printer a lot. I just had a conversation with him right before we got on streaming tonight, and we went over a lot of specifics, but I came into the decision point. I have to reprint Downcast 1 and 2, and so it's like, how many do you print? Because I've already, you know what I mean, there's the alternative stuff, and it's just, so I decided to print a little bit more than I initially was going to, and we'll just hope like they're going to be there for the next 5 years or whatever. We'll see. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised and sell out again soon. But
you know what, and then also you're going to want books for conventions.
Yeah,
because conventions are coming around again.
Right.
And then we're all going to be able to meet each other in the flesh, and that's going to be very, very surreal, but like really, really cool too.
I cannot wait. Honestly, I really look forward to conventions. I'd love to do that. I seriously, whenever this For the Fans Fest happens or whatever, it's going to be in Florida, so it's not even close to me at all. But I would really like to go and just meet up with everyone. It'd be a lot of fun.
And
So
also, can I
yeah,
say really quick? Let
yeah,
me just say real quick. I have experience doing the convention thing, right? So when people who are just starting out are like thinking like, okay, like how do I get my convention hustle? How do I do this? How do I do that? I and other people who are more experienced with conventions, I feel have a moral responsibility to get together and then just like share our information with like you and other people that have like, that are like walking into their first convention not knowing what to expect,
yeah.
because it's actually really simple, and the secret is to give 0 Fs and just have fun,
Have
and
a good time. Yeah.
yeah.
That
If
yeah,
you if your table's the fun table, people are going to be drawn to it.
yeah. No, that's I mean, to me especially, I think about conventions and all I've heard about conventions, and whether you make money or not, my plan's not really to be making a profit, though. Like
Yeah.
that would be great, but like the goal for me is just to meet people, talk about the book, and I am curious to see just the reactions of people just seeing the art like as they pass by. I don't know, I'm just curious. All that's really interesting to me. So um I don't know. I think it'll be so fun.
It will be. It will be. And it's like I said, once you're at first, like I remember I felt real stiff, but like by the second or third day of like the 2016 New York Comic Con, I had like my convention hustle
Yeah.
down, and
Nice.
we sold out. I think actually on I think the second, no, it was the third day, we sold out of comics out of the 4 days. We sold out like over 400 comics, and
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
no,
400. Nice.
that was a nice victory. I mean, I'd like to say it was all because like we had an awesome comic. We had a corner table. We had a big banner that you could see right when you walked in through the door. You know what I mean? If you looked in the right direction. But I think it also may have had a little something to do with the fact that we had the only comic that wasn't about zombies in
Yeah.
Independence Alley that
There's
year.
too many of them. Yeah. Well, so that was this Six-Gun Gorilla you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got the I still have like all my convention stuff, the big old banner and all
Yeah,
that crap.
stuff like that. I was looking at like I gotta buy whatever they call it, the banner. I gotta buy. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
and
Like,
the standee too. I actually think I have the standee. Let me make
yeah,
sure I'm not showing any butt crack here. Uh,
it's
where
all
is
part
it?
of the show, folks.
There you go. Yeah, nobody. Yeah, Clint. Nobody needs to see that. Nobody needs to see
It's
that.
all good.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
you
that
get one of these.
okay. So, oh yeah, that's a cardboard
Standee.
cutout.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it has a little piece in the back where you can.
See, I don't even know where you get something like that done. I mean, I'm sure it's just a Google search to
Oh
find
yeah,
out
yeah,
where you
yeah.
did it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is that's useful information that those of us who are more experienced with conventions
Yeah.
can share,
Right. Yeah.
and make sure that like when you're doing your first convention, when you're tabling your first convention, it all looks professional.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely I want to do that. I think it'd be fun. Again, just meeting people and just
Yeah.
seeing reaction, selling books. Were those trade paperbacks you were selling or single issues?
Those were single
Comics?
issues because there
Single
were
issues.
only
Huh.
the first 2 issues that were available at that time.
Ah, okay.
And yeah, they sold like hotcakes. And then of course the really gratifying thing was people coming back the next day telling me that they'd read it, that they loved it, and they were buying more copies for their friends.
That's cool, man.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
such a yeah,
That
amazing feeling.
there are a few moments that are I think they're most rewarding. One is getting the books. Like to me, that's once you see them and you realize, okay, there's no major printing errors. Like it
Yeah, yeah,
looks
yeah,
like a
yeah.
book, looks like what I was expecting. Okay, this is good. That's such a fantastic feeling. And then there's also just hearing feedback from readers that to me is just so cool. Like when people like the books or the book, I love the first two. I can't wait for the third one. I got one of those the other day, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
yes, I
Yeah.
love that. So great. Yeah, very cool. So check out Downcast, check out Six Gun Gorilla. We're just hanging out, chatting. And I want to kind of get into some of your ideas about building a franchise.
Sure.
Because Six Gun Gorilla, I really think like if one thing in Comicsgate, I've always said this, but taking the momentum and the energy and what do you build from that? What are you going to have after the 10 years or whatever? What are you going to have? And I think having a series, having a franchise that you started is something that is it's going to last a really long time. That's important. So with Six Gun Gorilla, I'm curious, do you at some point start to feel like you have you're the steward of this, and people that like it, you have to impress them. Do you know what I mean? You have to make them now you have fans that like what you've done,
I know.
and
And
the next book, like you gotta make it work, continue to work. Do you feel that at all?
you know what? I don't. And the reason I don't is for one reason and one reason only, and that's because I finished writing the scripts about like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So all I have to do is sit down with the script before it goes to the artist, and just read it over and be like, does this need any changes or anything? Like, no, that seems pretty tight. And so that's not an issue for me, but that's only because of that reason.
Yeah.
If I was writing, if I was doing a campaign, releasing a book, then writing the next installment, yeah, I would feel well, here's the thing. You make a contract with the reader, right? When like for instance with a title, Six Gun Gorilla, with a cover, right? Revenge Western with a gorilla. You're making a contract with the reader, like you better have like some like guerrilla gunslinging action within
Yeah.
like the first 5
It's what we came
pages.
for. Yeah.
Exactly. And you want to, of course, get the readers emotionally involved. And I've been so fortunate that that's happened. I thought that some people would like this book a lot. Then I thought some people would be like, it's not my cup of tea. But much to my surprise and gratitude, everybody seems to like this thing. I didn't expect that. I really didn't.
Yeah, I mean I can't fully put my finger on it, but I think it's honestly for me it comes down to this escapism. And like that's
Yeah.
again with comics, you'll have your favorite comic books, and to me, I don't know, The Long Halloween. I love that book.
Oh yeah,
So good.
man.
There's that series.
Yeah.
Like I love it. And that'll be the one like I go back and I was reading it yearly. I'd reread the whole thing, even though it's like the whole mystery aspect is not there anymore. But I just loved it.
Well, because then you get to appreciate the construction
Yeah,
the next
yeah,
time around,
right.
right? Because
Yeah,
then you're like, okay, well, as a writer, it's so important to know your ending, right?
yeah,
Because then you can work your way backwards. You're never going to draw yourself into a corner, and everything that happens before is leading up to that ending. And The Long Halloween, of course, was just so beautifully written that, yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, okay, you read it once as just a regular reader, and then you read it again as a writer, and then you're noticing all these little things like,
yeah,
oh, okay, this was all leading up to that.
yeah. And
The signs were there.
how the clues were dropping, and like but it wasn't enough that you figured it out, but it was enough.
Right.
It had you guessing, and yeah, just I don't know, it's so well done. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just look back to those, and it's like I just know that I had fun reading it. I had a good time. It had me thinking about it afterward, and to me, like that the combination of all those things, just with a reader, depending on the reader, it's just I don't know. That's the magic of storytelling, I guess. But
It is.
I love it. Yeah, but Six
It
Gun
is.
Gorilla for me is one of those books. Like I really liked
Oh
it.
man, thank you
So
so much.
yeah,
I've been overwhelmed by the reaction. I really have, and couldn't be more grateful. And here's the thing: like certain people said, like, you wait for certain criticism, like you keep your ear open when people are commenting on your book. And the one thing I heard that was really satisfying, I kept hearing from people, was, it's not what you think it is. Right?
Yeah.
Ethan said that, Cecil said that, Mandy said that, and they're like, it's deeper than you expect.
Yeah.
Like, it has like an emotional core that you maybe don't expect. Like, you think maybe you're walking into a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, but this ain't no Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Finish your
No,
thought, and then I
oh,
want to.
okay. But because what I wanted to do with this book was, every so many of the comic books that are coming out these days, they're tongue in cheek. They're always winking at you.
Right.
Like, oh, hey, see, we're in on the joke. And I always believe that this kind of story is best played straight, because it's more fun that way.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I kind of see as a theme in, like, let's say they take a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm a big Turtles fan. Okay, as one example.
Yeah,
and it's got flaws from the comics and the cartoons and the earlier movies, but there's just something I love about it. And I think part of that is that they take, even though like at its core it's kind of a satire, or like initially when they came up with the ideas, it was a satire.
it was
But
a satire of Frank Miller's Daredevil comics.
Right. But they took the concepts and then they took it very seriously. They treated it like it was something just very seriously, And I think when it comes to like more modern versions of the Turtles movies and stuff, that's what I see. Is I'm like, I just want somebody that makes it, that takes it seriously, that they like, don't make it a joke. Like, I want you to take it seriously,
because it's more fun that way.
Right.
They're afraid, like, oh, it's going to be ponderous. No, you can play it straight and still have just like a thrilling adventure story.
So with Six-Gun Gorilla, part of it is I don't want to spoil things for people, but like, you have the external conflict, which becomes pretty apparent early in the series. We're really quick first book, it's coming, but there's also this sort of I guess the emotional conflict element that is extremely relatable to me when and it's a gorilla, for heaven's sakes, but you treat it so seriously that it's like, here's this gorilla who is dealing with faith. You know what I mean? Like, he's basically struggling with his faith, and how he thinks that through, and like redemption and all these things. They're very like human elements that anyone can, of any religion or no religion. I mean, that's kind of part of it too, is it's just this. And so it's very relatable. It's universal in that way. And I didn't expect, I was expecting like, let's give a gorilla a gun and see what happens. But I think this is how everyone should write comics. I mean, unless you're just, the point is to be funny, but I love comics
too.
Yeah. And that's fine. If you're committed, that's what you're going to do. But
yeah,
you taking it seriously and trying to say how to make this a really great story. I think that it's just a good route to go. Eyebrow Idea says, what do you mean by played straight, Brian? Typical Clint bringing in controversial creators. Yeah, playing it. I get that.
Oh, are you suggesting I should have played it non-binary or gender fluid, possibly? No, I see he's taking the piss. It's all good. But yeah, no, it's just like so many. Look, there's part of me that wanted to go Garth Ennis with this. That didn't want to go Garth Ennis, but was thinking it would be smart for me to go Garth Ennis, right? Where he's like ripping people's arms off and sticking them up their butts, and then I was like, well, why should I do Garth Ennis when Garth Ennis is doing Garth Ennis? I'm the only person that can do me, and if people like my stuff, then they like it. They like my work because they like me for me, right? And I don't get people that are just imitating other writers. I understand a lot of creative people, they always start out imitating somebody else until they develop their own style. But, I've been studying storytelling for 30 years. And when I gave the first issue to a friend of mine that I knew was willing to be ruthless. And you gotta have those friends, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he read it, and I was like chewing my fingernails, and then he handed and right, and then he was like, I was like, well, so what did you think? Like, one word. And he said, confident.
Hmm.
And I was like, all right, okay, I'll take that, for
So,
sure.
meaning that your writing came off confident, or that you should
Yes.
be confident. Okay.
Yeah.
So that this kind of gets into what I was talking about a little bit earlier too, how like it's normally the case for me I've been writing for years, not in comics, but
Right.
I've written a couple novels. Those take an awfully long time to
Oh
write.
God, yes, they do. Yeah, they do.
It takes me like 2 years, I think. And that's like writing every single day, rarely taking a break. But there's always this sort of struggle, like, does this just sound good to me? You know what I mean? And then it's almost because of that you sort of back off, and you don't fully commit to, like, this is how I'm going to treat it, this is my style. And so I do think that there's an importance there. Like, if you make a decision, this is how I'm going to approach this character in the story.
Yeah.
And then you have whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, it could be terrible, your angle, but you have to commit and be confident with it, because that's exactly the only way you're going to know if your angle went well. And if people don't like it, at least, it was a full swing. You know what I mean? At bat.
Exactly. Like, there's so many artists that I've seen that screw up. But then I'm like, you know what? That didn't work, but it was ambitious as hell.
Yeah.
Like, that person took a risk and they lost. Well, you know what? Everybody whiffs at bat at least a couple of times, right? It happens.
Yeah.
But when we're new creators, we have this feeling like we really need to prove ourselves. And I think I'm kind of over that a little bit. Yeah. But at the same time, then I'm like, okay, dude, confidence good. Don't become arrogant. Don't, make sure that you hang on to your humility, because you see what happens to people when they get smoke blown up their asses.
Yeah.
And they start to believe their own bullshit. In professional wrestling, they call it marking yourself. Right? That's to say, it's like, you go out there, you grab the mic, you're Ric Flair, and you start going off like, I'm the best, I'm the this, that, and the other thing. That's cool. If you actually start to believe that,
right,
that's a problem. But not only for your personal life, but also for your work. Because, I mean, my goodness, you look at some of these visionary creators, specifically in filmmakers, and they don't have anybody hanging over their shoulder and being like, homeboy, that needs to at least be like a half an hour shorter. Or, you know what, I think you really like, or like Avatar was my favorite example of like a big, fart of a movie. It's like this big, beautiful fireworks display, and then afterwards you're just left with an empty sky.
Right.
Right. And then of course, my pet peeve, it's like, okay, well, what are they going to the planet for? Unobtainium. What? Unobtainium.
It's a little on the nose.
Well, that's a real thing. I don't care if it's a real thing. Unobtainium? No, name it something else. What the hell? But that's the point, is he's so confident that he's making garbage now, and he doesn't even realize it, I guess, because he doesn't have anybody like Stephen King, for instance. That's a guy who his wife Tabitha always is like his proofreader, because he knows that she'll be ruthless.
Yeah.
Right. And you need somebody that's going to be, it's not even about being ruthless, it's just about being honest. Because to me, if somebody slams my work, I don't take it personally. I honestly don't. I mean, it hurts, right? If I were to get a bad review, it would have me bummed out all day.
Right.
But I want to know, because it's on my nose. I can't tell if it's any good.
Right. And it's you're not mad. I mean, it's an important step if you're writing, probably in any art, but I know with writing in particular, is to be able to separate the criticism from the critic. I guess it's the other way around,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know, like it doesn't matter what book, what movie, there's gonna be people that hate it, but even in the people that hate it, there's some truth. You know what I mean? In their criticism. And yeah, if you can see that, it's gonna help you. On the nose it's on your nose. That was a good way to say it. I always think of it's like I'm painting a picture on my back, or I'm painting a picture in the dark, and it's like I have to have somebody else look at it because
Yeah.
I can't really see it, as
Because
the writer.
You're at the wrong perspective.
Yeah, you can't see it. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why we have to work with people also that are gonna let us know.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Like, for instance, for the script for this, I didn't have a splash page. And I don't know how I skipped that. I guess like when I was writing belting out like those 10 scripts, at a certain point I was just cranking them out and like, hey, I can clean it up later.
Yeah.
Right? And Preston was like, dude, you don't have a splash page. You need a splash page for this thing, right? I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because Preston's storytelling is a sense of storytelling is impeccable. And the way it works also, this is Clint, I don't know if you do this, but one of my favorite parts of the process is you write the script, you get it to the artist, and then it goes back to you to touch up on the dialogue and everything.
Yeah.
And then you get inspired by what they did. Yeah. And you make changes.
Yeah, you see the way that they have the characters acting. Every single time so far, I'm actually in that stage right now where I got the edits back. I just want to make sure like we'll get a bunch of editing out of the way. And I getting another opinion is always good because we're getting ready to put things together and go to print. So now I get it back. I'm looking through the art and the script, and I still run across things like he didn't say it like that. Like, look at that face. You know what I mean? He said it. So you just gotta, and it's like little things, but it's important though. Yeah. It makes it's just like genuine. So yeah, absolutely. That's totally my process too.
Yeah, it's fun though. Yeah. That's like, it's the way I always see it is it's like you got the ball, you make the ball, then you kick it over to them, then they do their thing, and then they kick it back. It's if you're not, I mean, my God, we're making comic books. If you're not having fun making comic books, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, really cool stuff. I'm excited. I mean, Six-Gun-GUERILLA, I'm excited to read the next one. Every time I'm in the last issue I read it first day I got it, after I had read the trade paperback. So I don't know, I'm excited for everything you do, honestly.
Thank you, brother.
Looking forward to it. But yeah, check it out, everybody. I put the link in the description. I'll drop it in the chat here one more time as well. And we got Kyung Lee watching us. Hello, Kyung Lee. We're showing off a little bit. Let's see. Here's Eric Olson. Showing off. It's really small. If you can see that up by his name, he's got an icon of some of the candy designs that Kyung Lee did for me. So appreciate Kyung for your work on that. I think they turned out great. I have not been doing a very good job promoting it. So if you want to join the channel, there you go. That helps me out, or whatever, I'd rather have you buy books, but
how do the candies upgrade? Like what do you go from?
It's every month. So I can't exactly remember the order, but there's like that's like a butterscotch one I think you start off with. And then we have like a chocolates ball kind of thing, like a box of chocolates kind of thing.
Bonbon.
Yeah, bonbon. It could be a bonbon. Yeah. And then let me think. There's the Sweetcast logo. I think that might be the top one. We've got we have those little candies, the strawberry ones that are wrapped. We get them from Halloween. It's just round red, and it's wrapped in like strawberry colors. One of those. Okay. There's one more. I can't think of what it is.
As long as it's not one of those horrible like Halloween pumpkins. You ever have those?
Oh yeah, the wax ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of sick bastard where if I eat something disgusting, I'm like, ugh! I'm like, and I turn to my friend, I'm like, here, dude, you got to try this.
Yeah.
But here's a tissue for you to spit it out into.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I thought we have to have classic because I'm so built around the peppermint thing. So we got to do like
Right.
what are other things on par with peppermint candies, you know? And so anyway, Kyung did a really good job. So
Hail Kyung.
the 8-bit design look, I can't remember what the word he used, but that's what I would call it. So looks really cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. Really appreciate it. Let's see. Andy Monster Production says, looking forward to getting your books. I don't know if you're talking to me or Brian, but I thank you very much for backing either of our books. And I know Brian would probably say the same.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't want your business.
Right.
Like seriously, folks, Clint and I, we're just waiting to the point where we can become happening enough where we can be like the people in the mainstream and just like tell you that we hate you and that we don't want your business.
That's the long-term plan.
That's
right?
that's the long game.
My goodness. Yeah.
Like, oh God. That's like they're telling you we don't want your business. I'm like, okay.
I know, it's so weird. Like, oh well, we'll fill in, I guess. That doesn't
we'll
make
survive.
sense. Yeah, I appreciate it. And when it comes to, I was telling my wife this the other day, it's crazy because I remember thinking, man, my dream would be to I just want to do like a trade paperback worth of story, if I could do that much comic, because it's just so expensive. If you were just going to hire an artist yourself and just do the whole thing, it's so expensive. And then getting it printed, it gets pricey. And so I don't know, like thinking about all that, it's like, I'm never going to be able to do that. I remember thinking that. And now it's like, wow, I'm reprinting a trade paperback, 120 pages. I've got another one coming out that's, brand new book. Having a whole series, like actually building out a series is just so cool.
It is.
It really is. Love that. Yeah.
It is. And we're seeing how far things can go too in terms of a continuing series. At least I am. The one thing I did for this campaign was this time I don't have a trade paperback because it was becoming too confusing for the consumer. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they were like, okay, wait, why is one book $35 and the other one's $15? And I was like, well, because the $35 book, that's 6 comics.
6 issues, yeah.
Right? That's 6 issues. And it was too confusing for people. So now I'm just selling floppies.
Yeah.
And anybody that's new to the world of Six-Gun Gorilla, you can catch up by getting all 8 issues. Or you can also, if you want to find out whether this is your kind of thing or not, I have a link at the top of the page where you can click and download a free PDF of the first issue.
Very cool.
I'm that confident that when you read that, you're gonna want more. You're gonna want more.
You're gonna want to continue reading.
The first one's always for free.
Yeah. I concur too. Like it's good. I think you'll like it.
Well,
you could do it. You could read the digital first. For me, I want to read it all in print. It's worth it. So
thanks.
Very cool. Yeah, Cam said, glad I got the trade. I'm with you, man. I got the trade too. It was cool to just binge the whole thing in one sitting. Yeah, very cool. Nice. So yeah, check out Six-Gun Gorilla. I think I've been dropped the link recently. I'm going to drop it one more time here. We're going to wrap up pretty soon, but I know you are in, what do you call it, Comicsgate time, where you stay up all night.
Oh God.
Streaming.
Yeah, folks. Like Clint sends me like this message at like 6, and I see it like at like 6:08 because I literally like crept out of bed at 6. And Clint, of course, sweetheart dude that he is just like, oh no, it's cool. We could maybe like in an hour, so give me enough time just to like run and just hose myself down and get a bacon and some coffee.
It worked out okay because I was actually stuck at the DMV when I wanted to
Ooh.
be streaming. So that took way longer than I had expected it to take. So yeah, it worked out really well.
DMV time is like dog years.
Yeah, it's so bad. I hate it. But yeah, whatever. I survived. I don't have to go back there for a really long time, hopefully. So
Hell
it
yeah.
should be good to go. All right, so check out Six Gun Gorilla on Indiegogo right now. Last 31 hours. Brian is going to be around streaming wherever he can stream, I'm sure. Do you have anything planned right now that you want to send people to?
Let me see. I think we're gonna be doing something with Preston and Ollie. Ollie from 656. Those oh man, those guys are killing it. Ollie from 656 is doing the colors for issue 8. So it's probably gonna be the three of us hanging out with a bunch of other people. On Saturday, I got Critical Blast. I think that's it. Is that at 9 or 7? I hate it when I can't read my own handwriting. But I've reached out to a bunch of other people, and I don't know. Well, we shall see, you know.
Cool.
And yeah, what can I say? Grateful to you and everybody else, that's had me on, and for your support. This is a community I feel very privileged to be part of.
Awesome. Well, I can only speak for me, but I'll speak for I'm the boss, right? I'll speak for the community as well.
Yeah.
Grateful to have you here. It's awesome to have Six Gun Gorilla too. Yeah, great book. This is exciting to me. Just all the properties that we're building up, and that's again, 10 years from now, it'll be so interesting to see. Like, you look back and see what becomes of all these really cool characters and great stories. I can't wait to see how it all pans out. So
me too. This is just the beginning, people. You could say that you were here for day one.
That's right. You were there before it was cool.
You were there before it was cool. Yes, Dojo, I will. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, most definitely.
And Snuggy Junior's here. Hello. Hell, yes. Very cool. Well, I think I'm going to wrap up the stream. And Brian, thanks for coming. Always great to talk to you. We'll have to do it again for sure.
Likewise, brother.
And yeah, in the meantime, I guess I will see all of you in a video tomorrow. When we hit 25K, we hit a new stretch goal. I think it's Spot Gloss UV. Let me check so I'm not lying. Spot Gloss UV on the cover at $25,000. So yeah, should be pretty cool. Makes for a nice looking book. Whoa. Good print job.
Whoa, wait, one second.
Yeah.
What exactly is Spotlight UV? Could you just explain that to me really quick?
It's you're gonna book that's like matte on most of the book, but then some of it'll be like a character or something.
Oh, that's gonna be raised.
Shiny.
Not
raised, just the shiny. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
25K people, get us there. We want that.
Yeah, it's so nice. The first time I did it, I'm like, oh, it's just my favorite thing to do. Books is so cool.
It's so shiny.
Yeah, it it adds a little just emphasis in the right kind of place. So anyway, really cool. Check it out. Help us get there. 24K. If we hit that today, man, it's been every day we've been jumping up another $1,000, which has been so cool to see. So thank you everybody for supporting it. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone.
Peace, love, and